is the leopard thinking that did the humans just rescue me? They didn't kill me. Just something to think about. And how does that change its response to humans again? So I'll just take you all to Bombay, where there was a very nice initiative carried out by, when the management, we got a really good forest department official in 2011 and did a lot of really nice things. So before 2011, the forest department was really closed. There was no research. Nobody knew what was happening over there. Then a lot of human attacks had taken place between 2004 and 5. Nearly 30 people were attacked every year. So, and the politicians would always say, why do you need 9 leopards, to save this 100 square kilometers for 9 leopards? It's like prime real estate in one of the most expensive real estates there. So then we decided that when we make a logo or we make a name for the project, it shouldn't be leopard project because people really don't like the leopards here. So instead it was Mumbaikars for SGNP, which basically means it was citizens for the park. And even the logo had people with a varli, that stick design is actually a traditional art by the community that is indigenous to the park. And we showed a leopard cub. So all this makes a big difference when you're trying to change mindsets. And we realized that the problem why so many people were being killed and attacked was because capture and release of leopards, simply because they were seen, was creating the problem. But everybody thought that is the solution. So we had to change the way people think. So we had to reach out to people, different groups of people. So the top guys are the police guys whose help we needed when there was a crowd and a leopard emergency. Then school children, and then at the bottom we had a lot of media interactions because media is really powerful. And then this side you can see the building residents. They had some leopard in their parking running after dogs. So they were like really worried. And every time we got such a call, the administration along with the citizen group would go and talk to them, and we realized that they are scared, which is totally natural. Yes, they are scared, but here we are to talk to you, to tell you about the animal and what precautions you need to take. And that made a big difference, because now people call not to set up traps, but they call and say we want awareness sessions if they have seen a leopard in their surrounding area, which is not something I expected. So that was the reason why I think this project has worked. Like the capture has almost declined and attacks have really declined as well, is because we decided that instead of sitting and catching the leopard and doing wrong things, let's deal with the people who influence the leopards. It means setting egos aside and working with everybody, which is pretty hard, but happens. So cultural context matters because Indian laws do not allow legal hunting of most wildlife. So other cultures, they cull animals. India doesn't. And it's totally fine. I don't think we should be copying what other people do in other cultures, because the way we look at animals is also different. So the only time tens and thousands of these animals were killed was during the British rule. And I like to say, sorry Steve, but I like to say that the Brits are pretty scared of almost everything wild. So, but when the colonial rule ended, we went back to not killing. I mean, you poach and you hunt, but there is no state-sponsored extermination of these animals. And India is a very old civilization with a very old history of use of land, of agriculture. And it has also got a very old history of wild animal civilizations on it as well. And we are learning now that when such shared spaces have been there for a very long time, both animals and people adapt to the presence of the other. So there is this term that we are using nowadays. We don't understand it much, but it's called co-adaptations. But when you remove the wildlife and then you have another generation not used to this wildlife, and wildlife starts coming back, you have a lot of people who are scared, and that doesn't help in them coming back, and it doesn't help the conservation issue. Media is really important in how this issue is played out. So I knew about Project Tiger in India, which was started in 1973. In 2007, I discovered that there are a lot of groups of people who actually revere and worship the large cats, leopards included. And that happened because I went to interview one lady of the Thakar community who had lost a goat to a leopard, and I was like, oh, what problem do the leopards create to you? And she was very annoyed with me, which I didn't understand why. So then later on when I was going back, the farmer who used to work with me, is because these guys worship the leopard and you're asking them what problem their god is creating for them. And then I realized there's this institution which a lot of people respect and revere, and it's not about religion, but it is that the way they look at this animal is out of reverence and not fear. They also learn a lot about the animal from their parents and their ancestors, so they know a lot about the animal as well, a very different way of looking at it than what we do. So to summarize, we need to move from fear to understanding, for more peace between all, and from conflict to more peaceful shared spaces, from being reactive to trying to deal with the problem before the problem occurs, again for more peaceful situations, and from focusing on animals to focusing on people so that they feel safer and they are safer. So this is a really nice cartoon a friend of mine made, where earlier you just keep doing things at the animal without totally ignoring the people. You're not even helping the people, not even thinking about the people. But we need to shift towards helping and thinking about the humans if we want to conserve the animal. Thank you.